Bryan, how are you doing?
Good, thank you.
So I just wanted to know, how did your passion towards sketching start?
Okay, I started drawing when I was about 6 to 7 years old. I love to draw, always have loved to draw. And I was fortunate that my parents all supported my artwork and pushed me in the right direction. When I was a teenager in Hamilton, Ontario, the high school I went to had a 4-year specialized art course, which I went to and did for 4 years. In that course, you learn photography, drawing, pottery, sculpture, fine art, all of the things. And then as you go through the years, you specialize more into the area you wanted to be. I wanted to go into advertising, so that did. In them days, advertising, there was no computers, right? So everything was drawn. Everything was drawn or photographed, but there was no computers to do anything. So you hone your skills a lot during that business. When I was in my final year of that art course, 4-year course, a company came into the school and they hired me. So when I graduated, I just went straight right to work for that company that had hired me during my final year and into advertising. And then I worked over the years at different advertising agencies. I moved from Ontario to British Columbia in 1972 and opened up an advertising studio of my own here in Chilliwack, actually. And I did that for a number of years, working on all sorts of things, from drawing and skating and advertising and major mall displays, you name it, all of that. So it just carried on through my career. I worked at other jobs as well, but tried to do artwork as much as possible. Then when I retired, I moved back to what I loved most, which is drawing by pencil. Right?
That's perfect.
Yeah. And the pencils are actually 70% graphite, right? So.
And the art education that you did, was it costly? Was it?
No, because it was just like a regular high school. It didn't cost anything.
Extra?
No, the only difference was it was a big school, excuse me, big school, and the whole top floor was the art department.
Oh.
And everything was up there, so it didn't cost anything, no. Moved on and went to Ryerson in Toronto, or what have you, to do photography, and other people moved on to Ontario College of Art to work there, sort of like an MA car out here. And I went to work in advertising.
And do you think art is really costly to start with?
No, and that's why I try and teach, not to spend money. Don't buy expensive things. Everything can be done with what you have at home. There's absolutely no need to spend a lot of money, other than pencils or paint, or whatever you want to do. That's all.
Because many people have a conception that art really costs a lot and it's hard to
It can
go
do.
ahead with it.
Yeah. If you want to spend the money, right? There's a lot of people out there that are willing to sell you anything you want, right? But as you know, of going through this class, if you have, I never preach that. I always say you don't need to do that.
Right. So now I want to know, what is the biggest challenge that you faced as an artist?
Well, there are many challenges. You go through a long lifetime of doing artwork. There's different challenges all the time. Every one of them is big because because at the time it's a big challenge. But another one will come on later, and another one will come on later. Nothing has to be a serious challenge to you. Everything's a learning experience. Every day's a school day. I think I've said that a number of times, and it's absolutely true. You take any of those things and think about it and positively find the good stuff involved in it, and that's all it takes to move on. Just move on. You don't need anything, Art is for fun, okay? Don't ever forget that. It's enjoyable. It's what people should do to have fun.
Yep.
I do not ever draw or do anything to sell it. I draw it because I love it.
Right.
Now, if you or anybody out there loves my work and wants to purchase it, fantastic. But that's not why I actually draw it. You have to do what comes from your heart, right? Don't worry about what public likes. Just worry about what you like.
That's amazing. So, can you share one of the biggest achievement you had as an artist?
Achievements, again, like everything else, are individual, happen throughout your career. It might not even be a big achievement. It might be a little achievement, but it's the first, and then later on there'll be another first and another first. For me, I guess I have my work now is available or has been sold now throughout Canada, throughout the United States, into Germany, Finland, United Kingdom, Holland, and quite a few other countries as well. That's a huge accomplishment for any artist.
Right.
And it just takes time. It takes, the only thing about art, if you're doing it, is that recognition of your work takes time.
Right.
This person has to tell another person has to tell another person, and they all have to like your work. So it takes time. And there's different levels of success, right? What I've done is not a huge successful level. I'm still at I still love it here in 100 Mile. I'm not ambitious to go out and, become this worldwide thing. I do exhibitions once in a while in Vancouver, and have private exhibitions at different galleries around. But, I never came into this business to be famous. I just came in to do something I love. And everybody should.
That's amazing. These days, I see a lot of people who put their art interest aside because of the societal pressures to do something big in their lives and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure you also went through different jobs, putting your art interest aside.
Yeah.
So, to all those people, what would you like to say? Because even though they have interest in it, they could never pursue it.
Okay. Well, in the first place, every individual has a different level of what they want to accomplish anyway. There's people that just want to do it just because they like it. And doing that is all they're after, and there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, most artists are like that. Not many. How many people do you know that are really successful as an artist, right? Or as anything else in that matter? There's very few people that reach that type of thing. You just got to do things for yourself and enjoy it, And for those that are trying that, it takes time. You've got to have patience. Don't ever stop doing what's in here, right? And your style of your art is what will become known. And like I said a number of times, you can't make a style of your own work. It will come naturally, right? You just keep doing what you're doing, right? Eventually more and more people will want to see it. Later on, maybe people will say, maybe you could put that in a show or a gallery or an art walk or something like that, or show it on easels in a park or anywhere else. That's where you start, and where you go and how far you want to go is entirely up to you.
So, I'm pretty sure after all these years, you might have had one inspiration in your life, like an artist that you look up to. So, who has been that for you in your life?
Well, I think I went over that just happened to be today.
You
correct?
just mentioned about it today,
Yes,
so I want
correct.
to know about that.
That's true, absolutely. So when I was a young teenager, and through my teenage years, when I was going to my art school and everything else, the greatest influence in my whole life was Norman Rockwell. If anybody wants to look it up, Google Norman Rockwell. If they haven't know his work, take a look at his work, look at my work. You'll see that there's similarities in there.
Okay.
And like I said, up until a couple of years ago, I didn't know that at all. A lady came up and looked at one of my drawings and just right away said Norman Rockwell, and that just about threw me off my chair, because I didn't realize that that influence was still with me today. And so any artwork or any artist that you look at, if it's precious to you and that's the one you think you would really like to be like, that impression could last for a long time. Yeah, it'll be your own work, but that's where it maybe came from, right? So.
That's amazing. So, what is that one last message that you would like to give to all the youngsters who are getting into this field or who have passion towards art?
I think a lot of what we've already said. Enjoy it. A lot of people, as you mentioned earlier, can only do art for so long. Then, for whatever pressure is involved, maybe parents or somebody told you it was frivolous, or there was no reason for it, or you had to go and work, or you had to be on a farm, and you had to do that. There's a lot of different reasons why people stop doing it, but it's always in here. Right? It's only dormant. It's still there. And later on, remember, everybody as a child drew, whether you used a crayon, whether you used pencils, whether you used charcoal, doesn't matter. We all drew. It never left you. It's just still inside. So at any age, you can bring that back out again. I think that's the most important for people to understand. It's still there. And all the people that don't believe, I think you'll find that's not the case. It's true.
That's amazing. It was so nice talking to you, Bryan. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And thank you for coming to my class. It was exceptional having you here. It was a nice day. Thank you very much.
Thank you.